First Sutra. Right knowledge has three sources: direct recognition, influence, and the words of the awakened one. Pratyaksha, direct recognition, is the first source of right knowledge. Direct recognition means a face-to-face encounter without any mediator, without any medium, without any agent. When you know directly something, the knower faces the known immediately. There is no one to relate, no bridge. Then it is right knowledge. But then many problems arise. Ordinarily, pratyaksha, direct recognition, has been translated, interpreted, commented in a very wrong way. The very word pratyaksha means before the eyes, in front of the eyes. But eyes themselves are a mediation. The knower is hidden behind. Eyes are the mediums. You are hearing me. But this is not direct. This is not immediate. You are hearing me through the senses, through the ears. You are seeing me through the eyes. Your eyes can wrongly report to you. Your ears can wrongly report. No one should be believed. No mediator should be believed. Because you cannot rely on the mediators. If your eyes are ill, they will report differently. If your eyes are drugged, they will report differently. If your eyes are filled with memory, they will report differently. If you are in love, then you see something else. If you are not in love, then you can never see that. An ordinary woman can become the most beautiful person in the world if you see through love. Then your eyes are filled with love. Then they report something else. And the same person can appear the ugliest if your eyes are filled with hate. They are not reliable. You hear through the ears. Ears are just instruments. They can function wrongly. They can hear something which has not been said. They can miss something which was being said. Senses cannot be reliable. Senses are just mechanical devices. Then what is pratyaksha? Then what is direct cognition? Direct cognition can only be when there is no mediator, not even senses. Patanjali says, then it is right knowledge. This is the first basic source of right knowledge. When you know something and you need not depend on anybody else, only in deep meditation you transit senses, then direct cognition becomes possible. When Buddha comes to know his innermost being, that innermost being is perception, that is direct cognition. No senses are involved. Nobody has reported it. There is no one like an agent. The knower and known are face to face. There is nothing in between. This is immediacy. And immediacy can only be true. So the first right knowledge can only be of the inner self. You may know the whole world, but if you have not known the innermost core of your being, your whole knowledge is absurd. It is not really knowledge. It cannot be true. Because the first basic right knowledge has not happened to you. Your whole edifice is false. You may know many things. If you have not known yourself, all your knowledge is based on reports given by the senses. But how can you be certain that senses are reporting rightly? In the night you dream. While dreaming you start believing in the dream that it is true. Your senses are reporting the dream. Your eyes are seeing it. Your ears are hearing it. You may be touching. Your senses are reporting you. That's why you fall under the illusion that it is real. Here you are. It may be just a dream. How can you be certain that I am speaking to you? In reality, it is possible it may be just a dream. You are dreaming me. Every dream is true while you dream. Chuang-Tzu once saw a dream that he has become a butterfly. Then in the morning he was sad. And his disciples asked, why you are so sad? Chuang-Tzu said, I am in a trouble. In such a trouble I have never been before. This puzzle seems to be impossible. It cannot be solved. Last night I saw a dream that I have become a butterfly. The disciples laughed. This is what is there. This is not a riddle. Dream is just a dream. Chuang-Tzu says, but listen, I am troubled. If Chuang-Tzu can dream that he has become a butterfly may be dreaming now that he has become Chuang-Tzu. So how to decide? Whether I am now facing reality or again a dream. And if Chuang-Tzu can become a butterfly, why not a butterfly can dream that he has become a Chuang-Tzu? There is no impossibility. The reverse can occur. You cannot rely on the senses. In the dream, they deceive you. If you take a drug, LSD or something, your senses start deceiving you. You start seeing things which are not there. They can deceive you to such an extent that you can start believing things so absolutely that you may be in danger. One girl jumped in New York from 60th floor because under LSD she thought now she can fly. Chuang-Tzu was not wrong. the girl really flies out of the window. Of course, she died. But she will never be able to know that she has been deceived by her senses under the influence of the drug. Even without drugs, we have illusions. You are passing through a dark street and suddenly you get scared. A snake is there. You start running. And later on you come to know that there was no snake. Just a rope was lying there. But when you felt that there was a snake, your eyes were reporting that the snake is there. And you behaved accordingly. You escaped from the place. Senses cannot be believed. Then what is direct cognition? Direct cognition is something which is known without senses. So the first right knowledge can only be of the inner self, because only there senses will not be needed. Everywhere else senses will be needed. If you want to see me, you will have to see through the eyes, but if you want to see yourself, eyes are not needed. Even a blind man can see himself. If you want to see me, light will be needed. But if you want to see yourself, darkness is okay. Light is not needed. Even in the darkest cave, you can know yourself. No medium, light, eyes, anything is needed. The inner experience is immediate. And that immediate experience is the basis of all right knowledge. Once you are rooted in that inner experience, then many things will start happening to you. It will not be possible to understand them right now. One who is rooted in his centers, in his inner being, one who has come upon to feel it as a direct experience, then senses cannot deceive him. He is awakened. Then eyes cannot deceive him. Then ears cannot deceive him. Then nothing can deceive him. Deception has dropped. You can be deceived because you are living in delusion. You cannot be deceived once you have come to be a right knower. You cannot be deceived. Then everything by and by takes the shape of right knowledge. Once you know yourself, then whatsoever you know will fall automatically to be right. Because you are right now. This is the distinction to be remembered. If you are right, then everything becomes right. If you are wrong, then everything goes wrong. So it is not a question of doing something outside. It is a question of doing something inside. You cannot deceive a Buddha. It is impossible. How can you deceive a Buddha? He is rooted himself. You are transparent to him. You cannot deceive. Before you know, he knows you. Even a glimmer of thought in you is clearly seen by him. He penetrates you to your very being. Your penetration goes to the same extent in others as it goes into yourself. If you can penetrate into yourself, to the same extent you can penetrate into everything. Deeper you move within, deeper you can move without. And you have not moved within even a single inch. So whatsoever you do outside is just like a dream. Patanjali says the first source of right knowledge is immediate direct cognition, pratyaksha. He is not concerned with charvakas, old materialists, who said pratyaksha, that which is before the eyes is only true. Because of this word pratyaksha, direct cognition, much misunderstanding has happened. The Indian school of materialists is Charvak. The source of Indian materialism was Brihaspati, a very penetrating thinker, but a thinker. A very profound philosopher, but a philosopher, not a realized soul. He says only pratyaksha is true, and by pratyaksha he means whatsoever you know is true through the senses. And he says there is no way of knowing anything without the senses. So only sense knowledge is real for Charvakas. Hence he denies there can be any God, because no one has ever seen him. And that which can be seen only be real, can only be real. That which cannot be seen cannot be real. God is not because you cannot see. The soul is not because you cannot see. And he says, if there is God, bring him before me so I can see. If I see, then he is. Because only seeing is truth. He also uses the word pratyaksha, direct cognition, but his meaning is totally different. When Patanjali uses the word pratyaksha, his meaning is on an altogether different level. He says, knowledge not derived from any instrument, not derived from any medium, immediate, is true. And once this knowledge happens, you have become true, and now nothing false can happen to you. When you are true, authentically rooted in truth, then illusions become impossible. That's why it is said, Buddhas never dream. One who is awakened never dreams. Because even dream cannot happen to him. He cannot be deceived. He sleeps, but not like you. He sleeps in a totally different way. The quality is different. Only his body sleeps, relaxes. His being remains alert. And that alertness won't allow any dream to happen. You can dream only when alertness is lost. When you are not aware, when you are deeply hypnotized, then you start dreaming. Dream can happen only when you are completely unaware. More unawareness, more dreams will be there. More awareness, less dreams. Fully aware, no dreams. Even dreaming becomes impossible for one who is rooted in himself, who has come to know the inner being immediately. This is the first source of right knowledge. Second source is inference. That is secondary. but that too is worth consideration. Because as you are right now, you don't know whether there is a self within or not. You have no direct knowledge of your inner being. What to do? There are two possibilities. You can simply deny that there is no inner core of your being, there is no soul, as Charvakas do, or in the West, Epicurus, Marx, angels, and others have done. But Patanjali says, if you know, then there is no need for inference. But if you don't know, then too, it will be helpful to infer. For example, Descartes, one of the greatest thinkers of the West, he started his philosophical quest through doubt. And he took this standpoint from the very beginning, that he will not believe in anything which is not indubitable. That which can be doubted, he will doubt. And he will try to find out a point which cannot be doubted. And only on that point he will create the whole edifice of his thinking. A beautiful quest. Honest, arduous, dangerous. So he denied God. Because you can doubt. Many have doubted. And no one has been able to answer their doubts. He went on denying whatsoever could be doubted, conceived to be dubitable, he denied. For years continuously he was in inner turmoil. Then he fell upon the point which was indubitable. He couldn't deny himself. That is impossible. You cannot say, I am not. If you say, your very saying proves that you are. So this was the basic rock. That I cannot deny myself. I cannot say I am not. Who will say it? Even to doubt I am needed. This is inference. This is not direct cognition. This is through logic and argument. But it gives a shadow. It gives a glimpse. It gives you a possibility, an opening. And then Descartes had the rock. And on this rock a great temple can be built. One indubitable fact, then you can reach to the absolute truth. If you start with a doubtful thing, you will never reach anywhere. In the very base, doubt remains. Patanjali says inference is the second source of right knowledge. Right logic, right doubting, right argument can give you something which can help towards real knowledge. That he calls inference, anuman. Directly you have not seen, but everything proves it must be so. Situational proofs are there that it must be so. For example, you look around the vast universe. You may not be able to conceive there is a God, But you cannot deny, even through simple inference, you cannot deny that the whole world is a system, a coherent whole, a design that cannot be denied. The design is so apparent. Even science cannot deny. Rather, on the contrary, science goes on finding more and more design, more and more laws. If the world is just an accident, then science is impossible. But the world doesn't seem to be an accident. It seems to be planned. And it is running according to certain laws. And those laws are never broken. Patanjali will say, the design in universe cannot be denied. And if once you feel there is design, the designer has entered. But that is an inference. You have not known him directly. But the design of the universe, the planning, the law, the order, and the order is so superb. It is so minute, so superb, so infinite. The order is there. Everything is humming with an order, a musical harmony of the whole universe. Someone seems to be hidden behind. But that's an inference. Patanjali says inference also can be an help towards right knowledge. But it has to be right inference. Logic is dangerous. It is double-edged. You can use logic wrongly. Then too you will reach conclusions. For example, I told you that the plan is there, the design is there, the world is an order, beautiful order, perfect. Right inference will be that there seems to be somebody's hand behind it. We may not be directly aware. We may not be in direct touch with that hand, but a hand seems to be there hidden. This is the right inference. But from the same premises you can infer wrongly also. There have been thinkers who have said, Diderot has said, that because of order I cannot believe there is God. In the world there seems to be perfect order. Because of this order I cannot believe in God. What is his logic? He says, if there is a person behind, then there cannot be so much order. If a person is behind, then he must commit sometimes mistakes. Sometimes whimsical he must go, crazy, sometimes he will change. Laws cannot be so perfect if someone is behind. Laws can be perfect if there is no one behind and they are simply mechanical. That too has an appeal. If everything goes perfectly, it looks mechanical. Because man, it is said, to err is human. If some person is there, then he must err sometimes. He will get bored with so much perfection. And sometimes he must like to change. The water boils at 100 degrees. It has been boiling at 100 degrees for millennia. Always and always. God must get bored if someone is behind, Diderot says. So just for a change, one day he will say, now, from onwards, the water will boil on 90 degrees. But it has never happened. So there seems to be no person. Both arguments look perfect. But Patanjali says, right inference is that which gives you possibilities of growth. It is not a question whether the logic is perfect or not. The question is, your conclusion should become an opening. If there is no God, it becomes a closing. Then you cannot grow. If you conclude there is some hidden hand, the world becomes a mystery. And then you are not here just by accident. Then your life becomes meaningful. Then you are part of a great scheme. Then something is possible. You can do something. You can rise in awareness. A right inference means which can give you growth. That which can give you growth. A wrong inference is that, howsoever perfect looking, which closes your growth. Inference can also be a source of right knowledge. Even logic can be used to be a source of right knowledge. But you have to be very aware what you are doing. If you are just logical, you may commit suicide through it. Logic can become a suicide. It becomes for many. Just few days before, one speaker was here from California. He traveled long. He had come to meet me. And then he said, before I can meditate, or before you tell me to meditate, because he said, I have heard that whosoever comes to you, you push him into meditation. So before you push me in, I have got many questions. He had at least a list of 100 questions. I think he has not left any that is possible about God, about soul, about truth, about heaven and hell and everything. A copy full of questions. And he said, unless you solve these questions, first, I'm not going to meditate. He is logical in a way, because he says, unless my questions are answered, how can I meditate? Unless I feel confident that you are right, you have answered my doubts, how I can go in some direction you show and indicate? You may be wrong. So you can prove your rightness only if my doubts disappear. And his doubts are such, they cannot disappear. This is the dilemma. If he meditates, they can disappear. But he says he will meditate only when these doubts are not there. What to do? He says, first prove there is God. No one has ever proved. No one can ever. That doesn't mean that God is not there, but he cannot be proved. He is not a small thing which can be proved or disproved. It is such a vital thing, you have to live it to know it. No proof can help. But he is right, logically. He says, unless you prove, how I can start? If there is no soul, who is going to meditate? So first prove that there is a self, then I can meditate. This man is committing suicide. No one will be ever able to answer him. He has created all the barriers. And through these barriers, he will not be able to grow. But he is logical. What should I do with such a person? if I start answering his questions, a person who can create 100 doubts can create millions. Because doubting is a way, a style of mind. You can answer one question, through your answer he will create 10. Because the mind remains the same. He looks for doubt. And if I answer logically, I am helping his logical mind to be fed up, to be more strengthened. I am feeding. That will not help. He has to be brought out of his logicalness. So I told that, have you ever been in love? He said, but what? You are changing the subject. I said, I will come to your point. But suddenly it has become very meaningful to me to ask, have you ever loved? He said, yes. His face changed. And I asked, but you loved before? Or before falling in love, you doubted the whole phenomenon? Then he was disturbed. It was uncomfortable. He said, no, I never thought about it. I simply had fallen in love, and then only I became aware. So I said, you do the opposite. First think about love, whether love is possible, whether love exists, whether love can exist, and first let it be proved, and make it a condition. Unless it is proved, you will not love anybody. He said, what you are saying, you will destroy my life. If I make this a condition, then I cannot love. But I don't, this is the same you are doing. Meditation is just like love. You have to know it first. God is just like love. That's why Jesus goes on saying, God is love. It is just like love. First one has to experience. A logical mind can be closed, and so logically that he will never feel that he has closed his own doors of all possibilities for all growth. Inference, anuman, means thinking in such a way that the growth is held. Then it can become a source of right knowledge. And the third is most beautiful. And nowhere else it has been made a source of right knowledge. Words of the awakened one. Agama. There has been a long controversy about this third source. Patanjali says, you can know directly, then it is okay. You can infer rightly, then you are on the right path and you will reach the source. But there are few things you cannot infer even, and you have not known. But you are not the first on this earth. You are not the first seeker. Millions have been seeking for millions of ages. And not only on this planet Earth, on other planets also. The search is eternal. And many have arrived. They have reached the goal. They have entered the temple. Their words are also a source of right knowledge. Agam means the words of those who have known. Buddha says something, or Jesus says something. We don't know what he is saying. We have not experienced that. So we have no way of judging it. And we don't know what and how to infer rightly through his words. And the words are contradictory. So you can infer anything you like. Few are there who think Jesus was neurotic. Western psychiatrists have been trying to prove that he was neurotic. He was a maniac. These claims that I am the Son of God and the only Son. He was mad, an egomaniac, neurotic. It can be proved that he was neurotic. Because there are many neurotic people who claim such things. You can find out in mad houses there are many people. In Baghdad it happened once. Khalifa Umar was the king. And one man declared on the streets of Baghdad that I am the Paigambar, I am the messenger, I am the prophet. And now Muhammad is cancelled because I am here. I am the last word, the last message from the divine. And now there is no need for Muhammad. He is just out of date. He was the messenger up to now. But now I have come. Now you can forget Muhammad. It was not a Hindu country. Hindus can tolerate everything. No one has tolerated like Hindus. They can tolerate everything because they say, unless we know exactly, we cannot say yes, we cannot say no. He may be the messenger, who knows? But Mohammedans are different, very dogmatic. They cannot tolerate. So Khalifa Umar had him caught, the new prophet, and threw him in the jail and told him that 24 hours are given to you. Reconsider. And if you say you are not the prophet, Muhammad is the prophet, then you will be released. If you insist in your madness, then after 24 hours I will come to the jail and you will be killed. The man laughed. He said, look, this is written in the scripture, that prophets will always be treated like this as you are treating me. He was logical. Muhammad himself was treated like that. So this is nothing new. The man said to Umar that this is nothing new. This is how things are naturally going to be. And I am not in any position to reconsider. I am not the authority, I am just the messenger. Only God can change. 24 hours, you can come, you will find me the same. Only He can change. Who has appointed me? When this talk was going on, another madman who was chained with a pillar, started laughing. So Umar asked, why are you laughing? He said, this man is absolutely wrong. I never appointed him. I am not from Allah. After Muhammad, I have not sent any messenger. In every madhouse, these people are there. And Jesus can be proved that he is a similar case. And the words are so contradictory and illogical. And every person who has known is compelled to speak contradictorily, paradoxically. Because the truth is such, it can be expressed only through paradoxes. Their statements are not clear. They are mysterious. And you can conclude anything out of them. If you infer. Your mind is there. The inference is going to be your inference. So Patanjali says a third source. You don't know. If you know directly, then there is no question. Then there is no need of any other source. If you have direct cognition, then there is no need for inference or for the words of the enlightened one. You yourself have become enlightened. Then you can drop the two other sources. But if this has not happened, then inference. But inference will be yours. If you are mad, then your inference will be mad. Then the third source is worth trying. The words of the enlightened one. You cannot prove them, you cannot disprove them. You can only have a trust. And that trust is hypothetical, it is very scientific. In science also, you cannot proceed without a hypothesis. But hypothesis is not belief. It is just a working arrangement. A hypothesis is just a direction. You will have to experiment. And if the experiment proves right, then the hypothesis becomes a theory. If the experiment goes wrong, then the hypothesis is discarded. The words of the enlightened ones are to be taken on trust as a hypothesis. Then work them out in your life. If they prove true, then the hypothesis has become a faith. If they prove false, then the hypothesis has to be discarded. You go to a Buddha, he will say, wait, be patient, meditate, and for 2 years don't ask any questions. This you have to take on trust. There is no other way. You can think this man may be just deceiving me, then my 2 years' life is wasted. If after 2 years it is proved that this man was just hocus pocus, just a deceiver, or self-deceived in an illusion that he has become enlightened, then my 2 years are wasted. But there is no other way. You have to take the risk. And if without trusting Buddha you remain there, these 2 years will be useless. Because unless you trust, you cannot work. And the work is so intense that if you have trust only, then you can move wholly in it, totally in it. If you don't have any trust, then you go on withholding something. And that withholding will not allow you to experience what Buddha is indicating. Risk is there, but life itself is risk. For higher life, higher risk will be there. You move on a dangerous path. But remember, there is only one error in life, and that is not moving at all. That is just afraid, sitting. Just afraid if you move, something may go wrong. So it is better to wait and sit. This is the only error. You will not be in danger, but no growth will be possible. Patanjali says there are things which you don't know. There are things which your logic cannot infer. you have to take on trust. Because of this third source, the Guru, the Master, becomes a necessity. Someone who knows. And you have to take the risk, and I say it is a risk, because there is no guarantee. The whole thing may prove just a wastage. But it is better to take the risk, because even if it is proved a wastage, you have learned much. Now no other person will be able to deceive you so easily. At least you have learned this much. And if you move with trust, if you move totally, follow a Buddha like a shadow, things may start happening. Because they have happened to the person, to this Gautam Buddha, to Jesus, to Mahavir. They have happened. And they know the path they have traveled. If you argue with them, you will be the loser. They cannot be the losers. They will simply leave you aside. In this century, this has happened with Gurdjieff. So many people were attracted towards him. But he will create such a situation for the new disciples that unless they can trust totally, they will have to leave immediately. Unless they can trust even in absurdities, and those absurdities were planned. Gurdjieff will go on lying. In the morning he will say something, in the afternoon something else. And you are not to ask. He will shatter your logical mind completely. In the morning he will say, dig this ditch. And this is a must. By the evening this must be complete. And the whole day you have been digging it. You have exerted. You are tired. You are perspiring. You have not taken food. And by the evening he comes and he says, throw the mud back in the ditch. And before you go to bed, it has to be completed. Now even an ordinary mind will say, what do you mean? The whole day I have wasted. And I was thinking it is something very necessary. By the evening it has to be completed. And now you say throw the mud back. If you ask such a thing, Gurdjieff will say, you simply leave. You go away. I am not for you, you are not for me. The ditch or the digging is not the thing. What he is trying is whether you can trust him even when he is absurd. And once he knows that you can trust him and you can move with him wherever he leads, only then real things will follow. Then the test is over. You have been examined and found authentic. A real seeker who can work and who can trust. And then real things can happen to you. Never before. Patanjali is a master. And this third source he knows very well through his own experience with thousands and thousands of disciples. He must have worked with many, many disciples and seekers. Only then it is possible to write such a treatise as Yoga Sutras. It is not by a thinker. It is by one who has experimented with many types of minds and who has penetrated with many, many layers of mind. Every type of person who has worked. This he makes the third source, the words of the awakened ones. Second sutra, wrong knowledge is a false conception not corresponding to the thing as it is. Now, some definitions which will be helpful later on. The definition of viparya, wrong knowledge. Wrong knowledge is a false conception of something not corresponding to as it is. We all have a big burden of wrong knowledge. Because before we encounter a fact, we have already prejudiced. If you are a Hindu and someone is introduced to you and said that he is a Mohammedan, immediately you have taken a wrong attitude, that this man must be wrong. If you are a Christian and someone is introduced as a Jew, you are not going to dig this man. You are not going to enter this particular man. Just by saying a Jew, your prejudice has come in. You have already known this man. Now there is no need. You know what type of man is this? A Jew. You have a preconception, a prejudiced mind. And this prejudiced mind gives you wrong knowledge. All Jews are not bad. Neither are all Christians good. Nor all Mohammedans are bad. Neither are all Hindus good. Really, goodness and badness doesn't belong to any race. It belongs to persons individually. There may be bad Mohammedans, bad Hindus, good Mohammedans, good Hindus. Goodness and badness does not belong to any nation, to any race, to any culture. It belongs to individuals personally. But that is difficult to face a person without any prejudice. And you will have a revelation. Once it happened to me, I was traveling. I entered my compartment and many people had come to see me off. So the person who was in the compartment, another passenger, he immediately touched my feet and he said, "You must be a great saint. So many persons have come to see you off." So I told that man that I am a Mohammedan. I may be a great saint, but I am a Mohammedan. He felt shocked. He has touched a Mohammedan's feet, and he was a Brahmin. He started perspiring. He was nervous. He looked again and he said, "No, you are joking." Just to console himself, he said, "You are joking." "I'm not joking. Why I should joke? You must have inquired before you touched my feet." Then we were both together in the compartment. Again and again he will look at me and will take a long deep breath. He must have been thinking to go and take a bath. But he is not encountering me. I am there, but he is concerned with the concept of Mohammedan. And he is a Brahmin. He has become impure by touching. Nobody encounters things, persons as they are. You have a prejudice. These prejudices create viparya. These prejudices create wrong knowledge. Whatsoever you think, if you have not freshly come upon the fact, it is going to be wrong. Don't bring your past. Don't bring your prejudices. Put aside your mind and encounter the facts. Just see whatsoever there is to be seen. Don't project. We go on projecting. Our mind is just completely filled and fixed from the very childhood. Everything has been given to us ready-made. And through that ready-made knowledge, our whole life becomes an illusion. You never meet a real person. You never see a real flower. Just by hearing this is a rose, you say beautiful. Mechanically, you have not felt the beauty. You have not sensed the beauty. You have not touched this flower. Just the rose is beautiful. It's in our mind. The moment you hear rose, the mind projects and says it is beautiful. And you may believe that you have come to feel that the rose is beautiful. This is not so. This is false. Just look. That's why children come to think more deeply than grown-up people, because they don't know names. They are not yet prejudiced. If a rose is beautiful, then only it will be beautiful. All roses are not beautiful. Children come nearer to things. Their eyes are fresh. They see as things are, because they don't know how to project anything. But we are always in a hurry to make them grown up, to make them adults. We are filling their mind with knowledge, information. This is one of the recent most discoveries of psychologists. That when children enter into school, they have more intelligence than when they leave the university. Latest findings prove this. In the first grade when children enter, they have more intelligence. They will have less and less intelligence as they grow in knowledge, and by the time they become bachelors and masters and doctors, they are finished. When they come back with a doctor's degree, a PhD, they have left their intelligence somewhere in the university. They are dead, filled with knowledge, crammed with knowledge, but this knowledge is just false, a prejudice about everything. Now they cannot feel things directly. They cannot live persons directly. They cannot relate directly. Everything has become verbal, wordy. It is not real now, it has become mental. Wrong knowledge is a false conception, not corresponding to the thing as it is. Put aside your prejudices, knowledge, conceptions, pre-formulated information, and look fresh. Become a child again. And this has to be done moment to moment, because every moment you are gathering. One of the oldest yoga aphorisms is, die every moment, so you can be reborn every moment. Die every moment to the past. Throw all the dust that you have collected and look afresh. But this has to be done continuously, because next moment the dust has gathered again. Nam-In was in search a Zen master when he was a seeker. He lived with his master for many years. And then the master said, everything is okay. You have almost achieved. But he said almost. The Nanin said, what do you mean? The master said, I will have to send you for a few days to another master, and that will do the last finishing touch. Nanin was very much excited. He said, send me immediately. A letter was given to him, and he was so excited he thought he is being sent to someone who is a greater master than his own. But when he reached to the man, he was no one, just a keeper of an inn, a doorkeeper of an inn. He felt very much disappointed, and he thought this must be some sort of a joke. This man is going to be my last master. He is going to give me the finishing touch. But he had come, so he thought it is better to be here for a few days, at least rest, and then I will go back. It was a long journey. So he said to the innkeeper that my master has given this letter. The innkeeper said, but I cannot read. So you can keep your letter. It is not needed. And you can be here. Nanin said, but I have been sent to learn something from you. The innkeeper said, I am just an innkeeper. I am not a master. I am not a teacher. There must have been some misunderstanding. You may have come to a wrong person. I am just an innkeeper. I cannot teach. I don't know anything. But when you have come, you can just watch me. That may be helpful. You can rest and watch. But there was nothing to watch. In the morning, he will open the door of the inn. Then guests will come and he will clean their things, the pots, the utensils and everything, and he will serve. And in the night again, when everybody has gone and the guests have gone to sleep to their beds, he will clean things again, pots, utensils, everything. And in the morning again, the same. Third day, Nanin was bored, and he said, there is nothing to watch. You go on cleaning utensils, you go on doing ordinary work, so I must leave. The doorkeeper laughed, but said nothing. Nanin came back, was very angry with his master and said, why? Why I was sent for such a long journey, tedious it was, and the man was just a doorkeeper. And he didn't teach me anything. And he simply said, watch. And there was nothing to watch. But the master said, still you were there for 3-4 days. Even if there was nothing to watch, you must have watched what you were doing. He said, I was watching. In the night he will clean utensils, pots, put everything there, and in the morning he was again cleaning. The master said, this is the teacher. This is for what you were sent. He had cleaned those pots in the night, but in the morning he was again cleaning those cleaned pots. What does it mean? Because even by the night, when nothing has happened, they have become unclean again. Some dust has settled again. So you may be pure. Now you are. You may be innocent. But every moment you have to continue cleaning. You may not do anything, still you become impure just by the passage of time. Moment to moment, just the passage, not doing anything, sitting under a tree, you become unclean. And that uncleanness is not because you were doing something bad or something wrong. It happens just through the passage of time. Dust collects. So you go on cleaning. And this is the last touch, because I feel you have become proud that you are pure. And now you are not worried of a constant effort to clean. Moment to moment one has to die and reborn again. only then you are freed from wrong knowledge. Third, an image conjured up by words without any substance behind it is vikalpa, imagination. Imagination is just through words, verbal structure. You create a thing. It is not there. It is not a reality. But you create it through your mental image. And you can create it to such an extent that you yourself become deceived by it and you think it is real. This happens in hypnosis. Hypnotize a person and say anything. He conjures up the image. And that image becomes real. You can do it. You are doing it in many ways. One of the most famous American actresses, Greta Garbo, has written a memoir. She was an ordinary girl. Just a homely, ordinary girl. Very poor. And working in a barber shop. Just for few annas. She will put soap on the customers' faces. For 3 years she was doing that. One day, one American film director was there in that barber shop and she was putting soap on his face. And just the way Americans are, he may not have even meant it. He simply looked in the mirror, the reflection of the girl, and said, "How beautiful." And Greta Garbo was born that very moment. She writes, suddenly she became different. She had never thought herself beautiful. She couldn't conceive, and she has never heard anybody saying that she was beautiful. For the first time, she also looked in the mirror, and the face was different. This man has made her beautiful. And the whole life changed. She followed the man and became one of the most famous film actors. What happened? Just a hypnosis. A hypnosis through a word, beautiful, works. It works, it becomes chemical. Everybody believes something about himself. That belief becomes reality. Because that belief starts working on you. Imagination is a force. But it is a conjured up force, imagined force. You can use it. And you can be used by it. If you can use it, it will be helpful. But if you are used by it, it is fatal, it is dangerous. Imagination can become madness any moment. Imagination can be helpful if through it you create a situation for your inner growth and crystallization. But it is through words, a conjured up thing. For human beings, words, language, verbal constructions have become so significant that nothing is more significant now. If suddenly someone says fire, the word fire will change you immediately. There may be no fire. you will stop listening to me. There will be no effort to stop. Suddenly you will stop listening to me. You will start running here and there. The word fire has taken imagination. And you are influenced by words that way. The people in the advertisement business know what words to use to conjure up images. Through those words they catch you. They catch the whole market. There are many such words. They go on changing with the fashion. For these few years, new is the word. So everything, if you look in the advertisement, is new. A new Lux soap. Lux soap won't do. The new appeals immediately. Everybody is for the new. Everybody is searching for the new. Something new. Because everybody is bored with the old. So anything new has the appeal. That may not be better than the old, may be worse. But just the word new opens vistas in the mind. These words and their influence has to be understood deeply. For a person who is in search of the truth, he must be aware of the influence of words. Politicians, advertisement people, they are using words. And they can create through words such imagination that you can even put your life, you can throw your life just for words. What are these? Nation, the national flag, just words. Hinduism, you can say Hinduism is in danger. And suddenly many people are ready to do something or even to die. Just few words. Our nation is insulted. What is our nation? Just words. A flag is nothing but a piece of cloth. But a whole nation can die for the flag. Because someone has insulted the flag, lowered it. What nonsense goes on in this world because of words. Words are dangerous. They have deep sources of influence within you. They trigger something in you and you can be captured. Imagination has to be understood, Patanjali says, because on the path of meditation, words will have to be dropped. So that influence by others can be dropped. Remember, words are taught by others. You are not born with words. They are taught to you. And through words, many prejudices. Through words, religion. Through words, myths. Everything is fed. Word is the medium, the vehicle of culture, society, information. You cannot excite animals to fight for a nation. You cannot excite because they don't know what nation is. That's why there are no wars. In the animal kingdom there are no wars, no flags, no temples, no masks. And if animals can look at us, they are bound to think that man has some obsession with words. Because wars go on around it. Millions are killed just because of words. Someone is a Jew, kill him. Just the word Jew. Change the label, he becomes a Christian. Then there is no need to kill. But he is not ready to change the label. He will say, I will like to be killed, but I cannot change my label. I am a Jew. He is also adamant. Others are also adamant. But just words. Jean-Paul Sartre has written his autobiography, and he has given it the title Words. It is beautiful, because as far as mind is concerned, the whole autobiography of any mind consists of words and nothing else. And Patanjali says one has to be aware of this, because on the path of meditation, words have to be left behind. Nations, religions, scriptures, languages, they have to be left behind. And man has to become innocent, freed of words. When you are free of words, there will be no imagination. And when there is no imagination, you can face truth. Otherwise, you will go on creating. If you come to meet God, you must meet Him without any words. If you have some words, He may not fit and suit your idea. Because if a Hindu thinks that he has 1,000 hands, and if God comes only with 2 hands, he will reject. You are not a God at all. Only with 2 hands? God has 1,000 hands. Show me your other hands, only then I can believe. It happens. One of the most beautiful persons of this past century was Sai Baba of Sirti. He had a friend and a follower. Sai Baba was a Mohammedan. No one knows whether he was a Mohammedan or a Hindu, but he lived in a mosque, so it was believed that he is a Mohammedan. And a Hindu follower was there who loved, respected, has much faith in Sai Baba. Every day he will come for his darshan. And without seeing him, he will not go. Sometimes it will happen that for the whole day he will have to wait. But without seeing, he will not go, and he will not take food unless he has seen Sai Baba. One day it happened, the whole day passed, there was much gathering and much crowd, and he couldn't enter. When everybody has gone, just in the night, he touched the feet. Sai Baba said to him, why you unnecessarily wait? There is no need to see me here. I can come there and drop this on tomorrow. Now, I will do. Before you take your food, you will see me every day. The disciple was very happy. The next day, he was waiting and waiting. Nothing happened. Many things happened really, but nothing happened according to his conception. By the evening he was very angry. He has not taken the food and Sai Baba has not appeared, so he went again. And he said, you promise and you don't fulfill. Sai Baba said, but I appeared thrice. Not even once. First time I came, I was a beggar. And you said to me, move away, don't come here. Second time I reached, I was an old woman. And you just won't look at me. You close your eyes. Because the disciple had the habit not seeing women. He was practicing not seeing women. So he closed the eyes. Sai Baba said, I have come. But what do you expect? Should I enter your eyes? Closed eyes. I was standing there, but you closed the eyes. The moment you saw me, you closed the eyes. Then third time I reach as a dog. And you won't allow me in. With his stick you were standing in the door. And these three things had happened. And these things have been happening to whole humanity. The divine comes in many forms, but you have a prejudice. You have a pre-formulated conception. You cannot see. He must appear according to you, and he never appears according to you. And he will never appear according to you. You cannot be the rule for him. And you cannot put any conditions. When all imagination falls, only then truth appears. Otherwise, imagination goes on making conditions. And truth cannot appear. Only in a naked mind, in a nude, empty mind, truth appears. Because you cannot distort it. Fourth sutra, the modification of the mind which is based on the absence of any content in it is sleep. This is the definition of sleep. The fourth modification of the mind, when there is no content. Mind is always with content, except sleep. Something or other is there. Some thought is moving, some passion is moving, some desire is moving, some memory, some future imagination, some word, something is moving. Something continues continuously. Only when you are fast asleep, deep asleep, content stops. Mind disappears and you are in yourself without any content. This has to be remembered. Because this is going to be the state of samadhi also, with only one difference. You will be aware. In sleep, you are unaware. Mind goes completely to non-existence. You are alone, left alone, no thought, just your being, but you are not aware. Mind is not there to disturb you, but you are not aware. Otherwise, sleep can become enlightenment. Contentless consciousness is there, but the consciousness is not alert. It is hidden, just in a seed. In samadhi, the seed is broken. The consciousness becomes alert. And when consciousness is alert and there is no content, this is the goal. Sleep with awareness is the goal. This is the fifth modification of the mind, sleep. But that goal, sleep with awareness, is not a modification of the mind. It is beyond mind. Awareness is beyond mind. If you can join sleep and awareness together, you have become enlightened. But it is difficult, because when we are awake in the day, we are not alert. Even when we are awake, we are not awake. The word is false. When we sleep, how can we be awake? When we are awake, we are not awake. So one has to start from the day when you are awake. You have to be more awake, more and more intensely awake. And then you have to try with dreams. In dream you have to be alert. Only if you succeed with the waking state, then with the dreaming state, then you will be able to succeed with the third state of sleep. Try first walking on the street, try to be aware. Just don't go on walking automatically, mechanically. Be alert of every movement, of every breath that you take, exhale, inhale, be alert. Of every arm movement that you are doing, of every person you look at, be alert. What you are doing, be alert and do it alert, with alertness. And then in the night, while you are falling asleep, try to remain alert. The last phase of the day will be passing. Memories will be floating. Remain alert. And try to fall asleep with alertness. It will be difficult, but if you try, within few weeks, you will have a glimpse. You are asleep and alert. Even for a single moment, and it is so beautiful, it is so bliss-filled, that you will never be the same again. And then you will not say that sleep is just wasting time. It can become the most precious sadhana. Because when the waking state goes and the sleeping starts, there is a change of gear inside. It is just like change of gears in a car. When you change gears from one gear to another, for a single moment, between these two, there is neutral gear. There is no gear. That moment of neutrality is very significant. The same happens in the mind. When you from waking move to the sleep, there is a moment when you are neither awake nor asleep. In that moment, there is no gear. Mechanism is not functioning. Your automatic personality is nullified in that moment. In that moment, your old habits will not force you in a certain pattern. In that moment, you can escape and become alert. This moment in India has been called Sandhya, the moment in between. There are two Sandhyas, two in between moments. One in the night when you go from waking to sleep, and another in the morning when you again move from sleep to waking. And these two Hindus have called the moments of prayer Sandhya Kal, the period in between. Because then your personality is not there for a single moment. In that single moment you are pure, innocent. If in that moment you can become alert, your whole life will have changed. You have put a base for transformation. And then try in the dream state to be alert. There are methods how to be alert in a dream state. Do one thing. If you want to try, first try in the waking. When you succeed in the waking, then you will be able to succeed in the dreaming. Because dreaming is deeper. More effort will be needed. And difficult also, because what to do in a dream and how to do. For the dreaming, Gurdjieff developed a beautiful method. It is one of the old Tibetan methods. And Tibetan seekers have worked very deeply into the dream world. The method is just falling into sleep, you try to remember one thing, any one thing, just a rose flower. Just visualize the rose flower and just go on thinking that you will see it in the dream. Visualize it and go on thinking that in the dream, whatsoever the dream, this rose flower must be there. Visualize its color, its scent, everything, feel it. So it becomes alive inside. And with that rose flower fall into sleep. Within few days you will be able to bring that flower into your dream. This is a great success. Because now you have created at least a part of the dream. Now you are the master, at least one part of the dream, the flower has come. And this is The moment you see the flower, you will immediately remember this is a dream. There is no other need. The flower is part of the dream. Now you are the master. At least one part of the dream, the flower has come. And this is, the moment you see the flower, you will immediately remember this is a dream. There is no other need. The flower and this is a dream has become associated because you have created the flower in the dream. And you were thinking continuously for this flower to appear in the dream. And the flower has appeared. Immediately you will recognize this is a dream. And the whole quality of the dream will change. The flower dream and everything around it dream. You have become alert. And then you can enjoy the dream in a new way. Just like a film. And then, if you want to stop the dream, you can simply stop, put off. But that will take a little more time and more practice. And then you can create your own dream. There is no need to be a victim of dreams. You can create your own dreams. You can live your own dreams. You can have a theme just before you fall into sleep. You can direct your dreams just like a film director. And you can create a theme out of it. Tibetans have used dream creation. Because through dream creation, you can change your total mind and structure. And when you succeed in dreams, then you can succeed in sleep. But there is no technique for sleep because there is no content. A technique can work only with a content. Because there is no content, no technique can help. But through dream, you will learn to be aware, and that awareness can be carried on into the sleep. The last sutra. Memory is the calling up of past experiences. These are definitions. He is clarifying things, so later on you need not get mixed up. What is memory? Calling up of past experiences. Continuously memory is happening. Whenever you see something, immediately memory comes in and distorts it. You have seen me before, you see me again, immediately memory comes in. If you had seen me 5 years before, then the picture of 5 years, the past picture will come into your eyes and fill your eyes. And you will see me through that picture. That's why, if you have not seen your friend for many days, the moment you see, you immediately say, you are looking very thin, or you are looking very unhealthy, or you have gathered fat. Immediately. Why? Because you are comparing. The memory has come in. The man himself is not aware that he has gathered fat, or he has become thin. But you become aware. Because immediately you can compare. The past, the last picture comes in, and immediately you can compare. And this memory is continuously there, being projected on everything you see. This past memory has to be dropped. It should not be a constant interference in your knowing, because it doesn't allow you to know the new. You always know in the pattern of the old. It doesn't allow you to feel the new. It makes everything old and rotten. Because of this memory, everybody is bored. The whole humanity is bored. Look at anybody's face, he is bored. Bored to death. There is nothing new. No ecstasy. Why? Children are so ecstatic. And for such simple things that you cannot imagine how this ecstasy is happening. Just for few colored stones on the beach and they start dancing. What is happening to them? Why you cannot dance? Because you know those are just stones. Your memory is there. And for those children, there is no memory. Those stones are new phenomena, as if they have reached to the moon. I was reading, when the first man reached the moon, all over the world there was excitement. And everybody was looking on their TV. But within 15 minutes, everybody was bored, finished. What to do now? The man is walking on the moon. After just 15 minutes, and this dream has taken millions of years to reach there. And nobody is now interested. What is happening? Everything becomes old. Immediately memory becomes old. If you can drop your memory, dropping doesn't mean that you cease to remember. Dropping only means this constant interference. When you need, you can pull it back to the focus. But when you don't need, just let it be there, silent, not coming continuously. Past, if continuously present, will not allow present to be. And if you miss present, you miss all. Enough.